Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching Criminal Minds Evolution, Season 16, Episode 7, What Doesn't Kill Us. ... I am loving the season of this show. It is dark and twisted, and the characters are so perfect and wonderful, and I'm very much enjoying it. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go. Oh dear. I'm sorry. Oh, this is sadistic. Of course, it's Criminal Minds, but I think the sadistic son of a bitch is enjoying recording all of this.
I'm not supposed to be here. Please.
I don't think anyone is supposed to be there, I'm afraid. It's quite old-fashioned technology, it looked like.
How are you not nervous?
I guess after being assaulted, drugged, and killed in the line of duty, I figured what's the worst that could happen?
Oh my god.
Let's find out.
Agent Prentice.
Ma'am?
Thing is, what comes down to, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you cannot close the Sicarius case because a significant number of senior agents believe an active serial killer is still out there. Why on earth would you close it down? Because you want people to get murdered to try and save your face? Like, the worst thing they should do is replace the agents on the case if they truly believe there has been some sort of negligence or incompetence. So when you actually look at what has happened, the only person who has shown any kind of negligence or incompetence is Bailey. That's his name, right?
Madam Attorney General.
I'm proud of my brain.
On your request.
There's a term for that, you know? Phantom vibration syndrome.
God, I know.
She put her career ahead of a man's life. You can do better. And if she truly makes you happy and it was a bad mistake, like, I do understand that it was a very difficult situation for her girlfriend to be in. I'm not saying like, oh, she's just an evil person. But at the end of the day, someone she loves and trusts, Tara, came to her and said, my brain fog is making me doubt that Tara's name is Tara. If it's not Tara, I'm so sorry. And like, I truly think like, I'm not gonna blow up your case just because I think it's fun. Obviously, like, there's credible evidence that this man might be innocent, and then please delay. Like, that's why we're looking into it. Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? Go, my career is actually more important.
I just keep hoping Rebecca's gonna text or call, and now
You can do better than Rebecca.
Seconds, like,
Know what it's like to lose the love of your life. So don't argue with me. Just do it.
It's a very, very sweet thing to do for someone you care about. But I still think you can do better than Rebecca. She's not the love of your life.
Sicarius is married with the possibility of children. Benjamin Reeves didn't fit that. He was not Sicarius.
Emily, that's thin, and you know it.
So basically, your case is senators are more important than average people, so therefore we couldn't care less if Sicarius goes on to murder dozens of members of the ordinary public, but a senator has been murdered.
The BAU has been so focused on this case, you've let others fall behind, like this one.
Okay, how many active serial killers are there in America? Does this show, like, blow the number of serial killings out of proportion, or is it actually scary that high? Yeah.
Team, thank you for welcoming me.
I didn't.
You're all gonna appreciate
He's
the
doing
irony
his
of
best,
this,
he's learning.
Bailey here.
2 weeks keep tabs on further missing persons reports.
She is like, I'll give the little kid a job to make him feel important.
Need I remind you of the real
That's what I want to know, what he meant by this.
Elias.
Yep, so he's not Lee here, he's Elias. He's got the urge to murder his wife because she asked him how he was.
And I don't know.
So he just has urges to kill literally everyone he cares about and everyone in general.
Trying to burn the house down.
He just needs to be institutionalized, like in a prison institutionalization phase forever. Or just in prison would do, but like, if we'd caught him before murdering, I feel like he just would have needed to be institutionalized for his entire life.
Lacerations over the victims.
You have to break it off with him.
Today?
Unless you can invent a time machine, go back and not kiss him. Yes, today. And do not talk to him further. Am I clear?
Yeah. Clear, I can see right through you, clear. I'll call.
I mean, what he needs to do is just say to him, like, I do like you, but we met through the Sicarius case. You're a witness. I'm working on it. Like, if we were to do something, it could muddy the waters. I mean, your sister's killer gets free. So, like, I think he'd understand. Like, if she just calls him and says, I don't want to be with you, bye, then he might be like, oh, it's because I'm awful and she hates me. I don't know. But if you're like, yeah, it's, you know, we've potentially muddied the waters on your sister's case, so let's not. I think he'd understand.
Today.
Is the other girl dead yet, or is she still... Was that her screaming, so, like, was whipping her to death then? Oh!
Wait! For God's sake, shut! But he's judging us.
Fuck. But he's judging us? Both alive, maybe we can save one of them? Hopefully both of them?
Okay, so it turns out this... Just call Rebecca. Tell her you're sorry. Oh, no, I mean...
Rebecca's the one in the wrong.
You know, I'm the one that screwed up. I gotta let her get
Rebecca is the one in the wrong. Just explain to him why you have to break up with him. Or end things before they even begin.
What could be worse than... What is that?
What is it a test of? So no one's found his uncle yet, or at least it didn't make the news.
I can't take this fucking family anymore.
Did you just say you do not talk to this family like
No.
that? Marcus?
Did he actually say that out loud?
I'm sorry.
Because if he said all of that out loud, he's slipping. Because normally he contains himself in those moments. He gets whatever his impulse is out, like killing his whole family. And I would imagine saying, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't take this family, was part of his, like, I would never actually, because that's not his persona that he puts on. He's slipping. Honestly, run. I mean, if there wasn't a serial killer, I'd say to them it's a good teaching moment that parents aren't perfect and that, you know, all the lights are all on, like, the Christmas lights. But you could say, like, parents sometimes have emotional outbursts and say things they don't mean or whatever, and, like, he apologized, he can apologize again later, and it's a good learning lesson, but he's a serial killer. Run. Get new identities and run. I am good in this room. I mean, I'm not good in this room, but I don't want to crawl through there. You've gone where he wanted you to. Oh.
You can take one door and be free, or you can take her place.
I'll get help. I promise.
She did the same thing with the guy, right? It's human nature. Especially when it's someone you barely know.
You tricked me! That's not fair!
Jesus Christ. She knew that she was gonna die when they were talking in that room. That's why she gave her the water. Because she did the exact same thing with the guy. She was given the same choice, and it's human nature. You want to protect yourself as best you can. You don't want to, like, sacrifice yourself for someone you don't know, and you think, oh, I'll get help, you know, if I can escape, that's better than nothing. But as if he's gonna let you escape, but in that moment you're in such a terrified place.
Are you sure?
And then the whole case falls apart because
I'll come by tomorrow and drop it off.
No, actually, I think you need to mail it.
I mean, it makes sense. They need to cut off all contact, and if we can catch the Sicarius quickly, they can rekindle it if they wish to. He is losing control. Going back home really fucked with him.
You promised. I know why you're acting like this.
She doesn't think you're a serial killer, sir. She knows something else.
Sydney, you're gonna have to...
Did you think I wouldn't notice the secretive phone calls, the trips, the lying?
She thinks you're having an affair.
What do you think you know?
A gun's quite a noisy way to kill her.
That you lost your job.
I love that he keeps the basketball pump next to a loaded gun, just in case he has to go and murder his wife at any point.
We're gonna pull it out on 3.
Oh my god, Grace.
I'm gonna die anyway. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my god, that is so brave. She is gonna die regardless, but...
Listen very closely.
So brave.
We did it.
Fighting back even when it's all over. He's so gonna die. Now that Bailey has become, like, likable, like, we've seen under the surface, he's doing better, he's being a less awful human. He's so dead.
Don't die.
But who's the next person? Like, is he just gonna kill her, or is there someone else he blames? Because he's done the dealer, the person that bought, which technically speaking would be his daughter in the equation, but regardless, someone who covered up an overdose, because what they said about her, maybe like a cop or campus administrator or someone, but then, I don't know, they seem to send people to prison and expel them. The doctor that couldn't save her? I don't know. Like, who would be next? Or is he just...
Come and get it, motherfucker.
We're 5 minutes away. We'll stay outside until backup arrives.
Run. She's fighting back, but he has a lot more tools, and...
Now! We're going in.
Grace isn't actually dead yet. Can we save them both? Oh my god.
FBI!
Can we save both girls, please?
Hey, it's okay. We're the FBI.
Ashley Lemina. FBI.
Oh my god.
Frank Skelsa, drop the weapon or I will shoot.
Understands that somebody must pay.
That somebody isn't Grace, Frank. She did not hurt your daughter.
Especially as she is your daughter in this equation.
Okay then,
So you want to blame your daughter for her death?
let's make a deal.
Hands in the air.
Please, ambulance, ambulance, ambulance!
90 Hillview Court.
Has he ever actually been in the field with a dying person before?
Did Ashley make it?
She did.
She did. So will you. Because you did it, Grace. You made it.
She has hope, even if she dies. He's never been in the field before. You did well. He is so gonna get killed by Sicarius or something at the end of all of this, because... And I need confirmation that Grace survived, please.
It's gonna be exactly like it was, okay? I promise. Okay?
I mean, but obviously walking out on your family to help yourself isn't necessarily a good thing, but showing kids that parents struggle and its emotions are valid would actually be very healthy in different circumstances. But he's mainly leaving so he doesn't murder them, which is very messed up. But it's honestly interesting because it's like, is he just a sociopath, psychopath, or have something in his brain that is wired a certain way where he just kills, where it's like not his fault? It obviously is his fault because he could have stopped himself, he could have turned himself in, he could have done all sorts of things. Like, it is his fault. But like, was he, no matter what happened in his life, was he always going to be this way? Or did something happen that made him this way? Did the uncle make him this way, or was he always this way? Again, it's still his fault. He is still evil, but...
She denied our request, didn't she?
She did.
Jesus
Case
Christ.
is officially closed.
Well, it can't be closed, so what's going to happen? Is he going to do something that's going to force it open? Like something so Sicarius-like? Or is he, as much as he wanted Reeves to be the fall guy, is a part of him angry that somebody else could be? Or is the evidence from the uncle about... Because he was on the radio to somebody, like, the radio, and he said, like, you're the guy on the news, right? And then he was like, yeah, I am, or whatever. Like, something is going to force this case back open. Also, does that mean Grace died? It didn't look good. I know you like each other, but you have to end things.
And the only thing that changed is I met you.
That is a lot of pressure to
Showed
put
me
on
that
one
there's still
person.
good, decent people in the world.
So what you need to do is
So,
take that feeling and run with it.
I should go.
You
I
should
do
go.
not want to be responsible for what happens if you do not go.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, just for 1 minute. I know you found a new lease on life because of her, and I know that, like, she genuinely helped you realize that there are good people in the world and that you can trust people again and there is goodness in the world, and I'm so thankful for that. But at the same time, how will you feel if your sister's killer gets away with it because you slept with someone on the team? Like, you're gonna go back to thinking there's no even good things cause dark things. You know, like it's not gonna be good for your mental health in the long run. Just catch Sicarius and then hook up with each other, okay? If you want to. But also then my brain is like, but surely when we catch him, there is gonna be more evidence than just whatever Tyler Green supplied. So it wouldn't derail the whole case, just parts of it. Very irresponsible. Your sister's killer could go free because of this. I mean, I'd like to think the case would be more foolproof than just that, but where is Sicarius off to? He's loving life. Does he need to go and murder a mother and 2 daughters to try and, like, get it out of his system? Is that what he needs to go and do? You can kind of see his face, and it's not Barnes, right? Like, surely that's enough to open the case, but then is that enough? A guy talked to her, I guess isn't enough by the... Yeah. So, the case thickens. Now, in terms of the actual, like, episode of the week, very sadistic, very just... It's human nature to choose the door, because you're thinking, well, I can save myself, especially when you don't know the person on the other side. We all want to think in that situation we'd say, no, take me instead, but no one knows what you'd actually do until you're in that position, and I think most people probably would choose to try and save themselves. And they would rationalize it like she did with, I'll get help, don't worry. I am choosing to believe Grace survived somehow. Like, the paramedics got there in time. Maybe it was touch and go. She probably has a long recovery ahead of her. But, like, I mean, if she's alive, she definitely has a long recovery ahead of her. But, like, she's alive because she didn't see her dead. But the way they were like, oh, Terry's families will be pleased to know that, and so will Grace's. But not the girl that... I can't remember her name now because they didn't use it as much. Ashley, right? Her family weren't mentioned because she's alive, whereas Grace isn't. I don't know. It didn't look good for Grace, let's be honest. But the case itself was a very standard Criminal Minds case, if that makes sense. Very twisted, very sadistic. And just what really struck me was the bravery of those 2 young women. And, like, Grace literally pulling the knife out, fastening her own death, when human instinct is to try and preserve life, like, to try and hang on for life at all costs. But she knew, rationalized in her head, that wasn't going to happen. And probably, since she watched it happen to the guy, she probably realized after the fact, oh, he left a weapon in his body, like, I could have used that. So she probably was planning this whole time, I'm going to die, but whenever somebody else appears, we're going to save that, like, I can help them escape. Was probably how she was staying sane in her time of captivity. But that moment when she was like, no, I'm dead, you get out of here. And then even when, like, Bailey came to her and she was like, did Ashley escape? I think I'm calling her Ashley. If she was called Ashley, I'm sorry. It was very emotional, and realistically, I do suppose Grace probably did die, but I want to believe that she didn't, because Jesus Christ, the level of courage that she showed, that both of them showed in that situation, because I would just be a sobbing hysterical wreck. But you have to you have to fight back. And I love that they did fight back. And at the end of the day, even if the FBI hadn't been there, Ashley very likely would have managed to escape. Like, Grace would have stood 0 chance, but Ashley would have made it because he was limping. Once she got that door open and closed behind her, she was safe because he couldn't run. He didn't seem to have any guns or anything he could use to attack her from a distance, and she was running away from him. They were on campus, or I mean, I don't know how close to the campus they were, but it was like an old campus building, so, like, surely there'd be people around. Eventually she would have been safe. Those girls managed to save each other, or at least save one of them. And I'm a little annoyed that they didn't clear-cut state that Grace died or survived, and my brain is telling me that the thing about how Grace's parents would also be thankful to know that they caught the killer, suggests to me that, you know, or that they caught the guy, that she is dead. But I choose to live in denial land, where everyone gets to live unless I literally see them die, and we didn't literally see her die. Now, someone I have decided is going to die, and I don't want him to die, is Bailey, because he has, like, completely done 180. Like, I feel like through working with the BAU, through one of the cases being personal to him, and then realizing what's happening, like, he's putting his career on the line, he's opening up about personal family issues, he's being kind of sweet. Like, you're still like, how the hell are you in your job? You're completely incompetent and like, you shouldn't be in your job. Like, you have no experience to be in the position you're in right now, telling people with far more experience what to do. It's so ridiculous. But aside from that, as a person, he seems quite likable. He's trying. like, he was very sweet with the girl when she was dying. Like, you know, like, he's all these things where the Bailey of the first episode you would never have thought would be like this. Immediately makes me think he's going to die, and I don't want him to die, but then my brain's also like, if an FBI person has to die, it can be him over any of the rest of the team. And I don't like thinking like this, but it's a TV show, you have to make sacrifices, and if it has to be an FBI agent, I'm picking Bailey. Now, the huge news with the FBI is that, although I don't want Bailey to die, they have closed the Sicarius case. Now, is Rossi's evidence going to be enough? The fact that there is a little sliver of face? I don't think so somehow, simply because even though what he was buying looked a lot like Sicarius tools, they talked for a long time. I feel like they definitely talked about the picture of the dog, so I wonder if in the video you can see them referring to it or not. It's very likely it's him. The cap and everything, and those slight angles of his face where you can kind of see bits of it, didn't look like Barnes, or whatever his name was. But I don't know that that's evidence enough on top of the evidence, given that they already didn't think the evidence was enough. Though what I can't get over is, like, what are you going to do, Deputy FBI ADA or whatever, whoever it was? What are you going to do when Sicarius kills again? And it's obvious it was Sicarius, and you announced the case was closed and overruled the agents working on the case who didn't think the case was closed. In my opinion, you should go to prison for negligence or for, you know, enabling loss of life. Like, you should face genuine consequences, not just career consequences, because you put a senator's murder needs to be closed over potentially stopping a serial killer. Like, by all means, tell the BAU that, like, if another case comes in, they have to drop what they're doing with the Sicarius case and jump on it. So, like, the West Virginia case, like, unless Sicarius is active and, like, they have, like, oh my god, we think we've sighted him in that location, go, go, go. You know, if it's kind of just more of a, we think he's still out there and we're looking, that could just be what they do during the times when they don't have cases. And I have to believe they don't have a serial killer case every day. Maybe they do, I don't know. And I know the BAU realistically does also offer input on other cases, like in the other FBI shows, they'll often be like, our suspect the BAU thinks is going to be a white man. Like, they often come in with their, like, analyses from a distance, but that's not, like, consulting. Like, I feel like they could still do this Sicarius case. So I do wonder if in the short term it's going to be our agents investigating by themselves, our agents sort of in their off time. Rossi, we know, was going a little off the rails before. If they're kind of going to be doing it in their own time, investigating him, I don't know. Now, I still think the uncle is going to come into play. I still think he's going to be a feature, because we saw Sicarius looking up. If he was, there was no news stories about him. Now, that could be that his body has yet to be found, but it also could be that his body was found and they just assumed he died of liver failure or whatever like his illness was. Like, they just assumed, like, oh, nature took its course, and so they didn't look into it. They just, you know, why would you put a death of an old man who lived in a cabin in the newspaper? It's not really newsworthy. Is probably what that was. But there was that, they made a point of him picking up the radio that was making noise, switching it. I have to believe in that moment, and then he made a big point about how family is what brings you down. I have to believe that there was a purpose to that, because he didn't need to touch the radio at all. And I could be reading into this one detail that they put in to mess with us, but it did sound a lot like to me, because there was nothing in what he said that would properly say, hi, I'm Sicarius and I live at this address in Seattle. Like, that wasn't what was on the tape, or on the radio. But he said, you're the guy from the news. He said, yes, like, you taught me everything. You know, the real reason you came to live with me. He said he has 2 daughters. There was information we can use, but there wasn't like oh, case closed, we found him. He gave his name and address. Like, so I have to believe that that's going to come into place somehow. But it's just whoever heard it putting 2 and 2 together and realizing what they heard, I suppose. Then we have Penelope and Tyler Green. Now, I have never been in love, so maybe you can experience that kind of attraction and love and you just cannot put it down, even though everything is telling you common sense. But common sense, people. If Sicarius gets let go, gets to walk the streets because you 2 wanted to hook up, are you going to live with yourselves? I think Tyler would find his newfound joy in life would be forever tainted, because he'd be like, oh, sometimes you lose yourself to the good things in life and that lets the evil win. I don't think it would be good for his mental health in the long run. I also don't think tying up all of your mental health into one other person is safe, but I choose to believe that it was more she reminded him that there was good in the world rather than that she was the only good in the world. I think it was more that she reminded him that there was more to life than his vengeance. So you could take him being willing to risk everything, including the Sicarius trial being awkward, and potentially him getting away with it, as a sign that he is putting living his life ahead of vengeance and justice, which is a much healthier way to live. And I do think his sister would be very happy about that. But in the long run, I don't know. But then the other part of me is like, I don't know, like, why her kissing Tyler Green would destroy the case. I mean, her being with Tyler Green. Like, yeah, it could make things a little bit awkward, some of the evidence they've got. If the defense wants to try and say Tyler Green actually is Sicarius, but then there's plenty of evidence that he isn't. Like, it would make things awkward, and it would maybe cast a light on Penelope's competence or her, like, trustworthiness of the team. But if there is enough other evidence of Sicarius, I think we'll be fine in the trial, even with them getting together. But regardless, I think it was very stupid and very reckless. And as someone who's never been in love, maybe I just don't understand. But, like, literally just don't do it. Just say, I really wish things could be different, and walk away from each other. What are you doing? They're, you know what, I say they're both smarter than that. I don't really know Tyler. Penelope is smarter than that. Now, the last thing is Sicarius, and he is losing his grip. He did seem quite happy when he was on his own, going to his little murder box, but he was desperate to murder his wife and children. I do think he is definitely somebody who should have been institutionalized all his life. And like, if you did it when he was a kid, it didn't have to be like a prison. It could be like a nice enough place where he was just monitored and watched, because it seems like he is somebody who has these impulses to murder and he can't control them, and he just acts on it. Now, maybe if his uncle had never done what he did, he would never actually act on these things. He would just get into a few fistfights or have some dark thoughts, but he wouldn't act on them. The thing that makes me wonder if that's not even true is the fact that his uncle said, remember the reason you came to stay with me. And we still don't know whether that reason is he murdered his parents, or just there was an accident and his parents died and he somehow blames himself for it, but it wasn't actually his fault, and his uncle used that to, like, warp his brain. We still don't know exactly, but the way his, like, desperation to murder people emerges, and he can't even control it, and, like, to the point where he actually, like, said the part of the fantasy out loud to his family about, like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, I can't take this family or whatever. Like, that was part of his thing I'm never gonna actually do. Part of me does think he was leaving, and part of me does think that part of him leaving, great use of the English language, was because he didn't want to accidentally go on a rage and murder his entire family. I do wonder if he were gonna find a mother and 2 daughters murdered somewhere, because he does like to murder, like, replicas of the person he actually is feeling the feelings towards. Because in his own weird, twisted way, he does love his family, but at the same time, I don't know that he's capable of proper love the way other people feel it. He's a very interesting evil psychopath serial killer. I don't know if he's even a psychopath. A very interesting, crazy, I don't even sound crazy, mentally unstable serial killer. So yeah, we are twisting, we are turning. Rossi has seen a vague, weird angled glimpse of the lowest part of his face. We're getting there. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance. And thank you so much for watching.